So what happens when a city's entire reason for being just disappears? For Birmingham, the UK's old workshop of the world, the answer was pretty bold. You build a brand new one. And that's the story we're exploring today. A story of an incredible comeback, but also a story about the deep cracks that can appear when that growth happens maybe a little too fast.
Let's just start with one single number, £30 billion. Yeah, 30 billion. That's what Birmingham contributes to the UK economy every single year. I mean, that figure alone tells you this isn't just a story about survival after its industrial past collapsed. Oh no, this is a story about a total reinvention into a modern economic powerhouse.
And right there, that's the real heart of this whole thing, this complicated reality. Because from a distance, Birmingham looks like this shining success story, right? All new skyscrapers, booming economy. But when you zoom in, you start to see a much more complex picture. It's almost like two different cities are living side by side.
All right, so let's dig into that success story first. How on earth did the old workshop of the world manage to pull off this transformation into a modern economic hub?
Well, for starters, the old engines that used to power the city, they're gone. Completely replaced. Today, the fuel for Birmingham's growth comes from totally different sources. We're talking finance, legal services, massive retail centers like the famous Bull Ring, not to mention a booming university scene and all sorts of business services. It is a completely new economic world.
Okay, so what's the secret sauce here? I mean, what does Birmingham have that's making all this growth happen and pulling in all this investment? Let's break it down.
You know, this comeback wasn't just a lucky break. Nope. It's built on some really solid strengths. First off, its location, smack in the middle of the UK, makes it a perfect transport hub. Then you've got this super young, really diverse population. And to top it off, with all its universities, there's this constant stream of skilled graduates ready to jump into the workforce.
And let's zoom in on that population for a second, because this is a huge advantage. Get this, 40% of the people in Birmingham are under 25. 40%! That is an incredible pool of energy and future talent. It's the kind of thing other cities would kill for.
And to give you an idea of just how connected this city is, just look at its airport. We're talking over 12 million passengers a year. When you have that kind of flow of people, it's like a giant magnet for business and money. So the picture is pretty clear, right? Booming city, young, connected, powerful. But this is where we need to hit the pause button. Because the big question is, who is all this success for? Is everybody getting a piece of the pie? And that question brings us face to face with these massive contrasts. Because if you peek behind that shiny new curtain of regeneration, you see this growing divide. A city that's really living two different lives at the same time.
And here it is, laid out plain as day. On one side, you have the slick, regenerated city center. It's a hub of investment, jobs, opportunity. But then, on the other side, you've got areas like Sparkbrook and Handsworth. These places are still some of the most deprived in the entire UK. We're talking higher unemployment, lower wages. It really is the classic tale of two cities.
And of course, success creates its own set of problems. You have more people moving in, which means housing demand goes through the roof. Now sure, it's still cheaper than London, but that's not much comfort when rising prices are squeezing local residents, making it tough for them to even afford to live in their own city.
That pressure isn't just on housing either. Remember how we talked about connectivity being a huge strength? Well, that strength has a really big downside. And that downside is traffic. Oh my goodness, the traffic. Birmingham is actually one of the UK's most congested cities. All that success, its central location, it's created this giant bottleneck, which means headaches and long commutes for pretty much everyone. So what's causing all this? Well, the main culprit is a massive reliance on cars. I mean, they've invested in public transport, but people just haven't made the switch in large enough numbers. And this love affair with the car, it's having some serious side effects for the city. And I do mean serious. All those cars are pumping out pollution, so much so that nitrogen dioxide levels are above safe limits in some parts of the city. That's a genuine health risk for people living there. And on top of that, as the city keeps growing outward, it's eating into precious green spaces.
But look, this isn't just a story about problems. The city knows this stuff is happening, and they're not just sitting back. So what are they actually doing about it? How are they trying to tackle these challenges?
Well, it looks like they have a pretty clear three-pronged attack. First, rebuild. They're pushing regeneration projects out beyond the city center to create jobs and better infrastructure everywhere. Second, reconnect. This means pouring money into things like the Midland Metro tram system to get people out of their cars. And third, refresh. They're rolling out clean air policies to finally tackle that pollution problem and push for greener transport.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, what does it all mean? Well, Birmingham's story is this fascinating case study. It's almost like a blueprint, or maybe a warning for other old industrial cities trying to figure out how to handle the good and the bad that comes with new growth.
What it really shows us is that, yes, a post-industrial city absolutely can adapt and thrive. It's possible. But, and this is a big but, it's also a powerful reminder that with that progress comes some really tough challenges you just can't sweep under the rug, like inequality, affordable housing, and the health of the environment.
Which leaves us with one big final question, doesn't it? Is Birmingham this shining model of urban renewal that other cities should copy? Or is it more of a cautionary tale, a warning about the high price of unequal growth? You know, the truth is, it's probably a little bit of both.